Welcome back to the TD podcast for a new episode. Here we got is called Waiver Wire Wednesday, where every Wednesday we drop some fantasy football advice and maybe some guys that you should pick up waiver. But before we get into too deep, we're gonna start with our first and 10, as we do with all of our episodes, and we talk about what happened previous week. I'll start off with Ann. I'll ask you how your fantasy football teams did.
Terrible. I think I lost all three of my teams in my sleeper leagues, and I don't look at my ESPN league that often, but I'm pretty sure I lost in at least one of those leagues too. I'm in a total of what is that 3, 5? I'm in a total of five leagues, and I lost in all five of them last week. So that's
So
that.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I'm in a Yahoo league, and we start two quarterbacks, and I got cooked there.
Wait, did I lose?
And sleeper, I did in our dynasty league. I did, however, win. That felt good. Starting 0-2 would
Oh
not
wait,
feel
no, I
great.
lost. I won one game. So we're good. It
And
just
in
didn't
my
matter.
three in ESPN, I think I went 1 for 3. So I think I went 2 for 5 on the week. So that's you know, eh.
It's
But
early. It's early.
it's not.
Let's not get ahead of
It's not
ourselves.
about how you start.
It's about how
It's
you
about how you
finish.
finish.
Mm-hmm.
Ant would know that because he played golf today. Um,
Yeah, and I didn't finish well and I didn't start well. So
but as we look at our top performers of the week from the previous week,
week
Lamar
2.
Jackson has the most points scored in the whole entire league or the whole entire year, and Puka Nakua has the most points scored among 9 quarterbacks.
Pretty good. So for our next section outside of first and 10, we have our most surprising studs and duds. So this is just a little spot where we're like talking about some players we expected more from and they have underachieved, and players we expected less from and they've overachieved. I'll kick off with mine. Javonte Williams has been really good for the Cowboys so far, which I'm really upset about because I did not buy into Javonte Williams on the Cowboys. Um, he has hit over 20 points in PPR both weeks this so far, and he's played well against two good defensive lines and division rivals. So if you're in like an 8-person league, go check and see your waiver wires if he's still available, and if he is, go snag him up real quick.
Yeah, my most surprising stud is Daniel Jones. Has been balling out in this Colts offense, and first time in Super Bowl era that a team has not punted for the first 2 weeks, as I've mentioned a tons of times this week. Um, but this guy's probably on the waiver wire for majority of your majority of your leagues. 10 or 12 person leagues, he's probably still on the waiver. If not, he probably got picked up last week. If you're in some dynasty leagues like us, he's probably not available. But go pick him up, especially if you have an injured quarterback. He's a guy that you could start and wait if you got a guy like JJ McCarthy or even Joe Burrow if he does make a return this year. This is a guy that's gonna go out there and put some points on the board in this offense, and he's getting rushing touchdowns as well. I think he's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the year, and they're calling it the Danny Dive. So you know, go pick up Daniel Jones if you can. He's my surprising stud.
He might
He was just in a quarterback battle.
he might be my worst take in this year, so I really need him to start sucking, respectfully. I
But
don't
yeah,
want him
our
to suck, but
surprising
I do.
surprising dud for me. We have been talking about the first 2 weeks because we haven't had one of these fantasy football episodes. We probably will do week by week basis of going stud or dud. This week a dud for me that I saw Derrick Henry. He had 11 carries for 29 yards, and this Browns defense is, they're not allowing too many rush yards this year, and he's not getting the ball very much. From what I've seen this week, he had 3 points in most of the league. Derrick Henry had 3 points in fantasy football. That's a dud.
I wish I
And
was
we're gonna
playing
have a
against him this week.
conversation. And we're gonna have a conversation later on about if we should hit the panic button on Derrick Henry just yet. But he had an amazing first, so we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So my dud is somebody that I've bought into heavily this offseason and is biting me in the butt with Nico Collins. He has less than 20 points in 2 weeks. This last week, so Monday, which is yesterday for us, um, he brought in 3 of 9 targets, and over the season, he has less than 100 receiving yards. He has one touchdown, but that's not enough. I took him in the first round. I need him to have more points. Same with CJ Stroud. I expected them to have a good stack again with a new offensive coordinator, and right now they're just not doing it for me. So I would like for them to pick it up before I trade him and regret it later. Speaking of panic or don't panic, that is our next section. Dak, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, so panic or no panic, we're gonna go through 5 players that either we're gonna hit the panic button, not hit the panic button, or you could find yourself somewhere in between of what's going on. But the first person we're gonna get to is Tyreek Hill, and I don't know if you want me to go first or second in this, but I'm gonna go ahead and just start off and say I'm panicking with Tyreek Hill, not only because of his production on the field, but the stuff going on off the field. If you're a Tyreek Hill owner, you got to be scared because at any time they could put him on leave and hey, we're in investigation. We're gonna put you on paid leave and you can't go out there and play. And not just that, but he's also on the trade block. So at any time they could go, hey, we think you're injured because we want to make sure you're healthy to go play for another team and get the best production we can out of you. And that's another scary situation. But his quarterback has been another scary situation where Tua's not performing well. You're taking away his first read, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's panicking himself. So I'm hitting the panic button on Tyreek Hill because he's sitting at wide receiver 28 right now, and is probably going in the first or second round in most.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic button, but that's because I had no faith in Tyreek Hill in the first place. I stayed away from him in every fantasy football draft. If you do have him, trade him right now. Same with Dak. I don't, not Dak like the quarterback, but like him, Dak. I would not have any stock in Tyreek Hill unless he gets traded to the Chiefs. The next guy I am a little bit panicked about, and that's Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty has not played well the first 2 weeks. Now, I'm not panicking too much, but I'm starting to like get a little worried here because I did trade an arm and a leg for him preseason. But I need him to succeed. As a Raiders fan, I have a lot of hope and need for him to do well. And in order for the offense to do well, he needs to play well. As an owner of Ashton Genty and a fan, I need him to start playing better, and would prefer to be sooner rather than later. Honestly, do it next week against the Commanders, please and thank you.
Yeah, I'm hitting the panic button. I'm just panic. He's not getting very many touches. He's got 30 touches in between 2 games. I think he had 19 the first, pretty decent amount, and then only getting 11 touches and this last game, and I think he only had 3 touches in the first quarter. You can't. You gotta set down the run game, and you gotta get him going. The guy had averaged like 30 carries a game in college. Granted, it's college and not pros, but Ashton Genty should be getting the ball at least 20 times a game. From what you gave up to get, if I'm in your stance, I need him to getting at least 20 touches a game. And the value that he had in most leagues, he was going at around the 7th or 8th pick in leagues. And that's a lot of production that you could have got elsewhere than a guy that hasn't scored more than, I believe, 30 points the whole entire year. I think he might 24 at total points right now.
Depends on the scoring for him.
He's had 30 carries on the year, like I said, and he's not even over 100 total yards of offense in 2 games right now.
Yeah. Luckily, he is catching some passes out of the backfield to give you a couple more points, but he's not getting many yards with that after. I feel like the offense is still working out some kinks, and I don't know what happened in Monday Night Football's game, but it was not pretty. Before I ended up hitting the hay, Gino had already thrown 2 interceptions. He was being really reckless with the football, and I did not love it. Our next guy is Travion Henderson. I'm also not hitting the panic button on him. I'm not, because I think he has the runway for it. He wasn't a first-round pick. He's in an offense that's young and still learning everything. Josh McDaniels has a weird offense. I'm not hitting the panic button on him.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. I'm a little worried because Ramondre Stevenson is reminding everyone why he's running back 1 in that situation. And he's getting the end zone touches right now. as he did this week. But again, like you said, it's still a young team, and Ramondre Stevenson, it kind of feels like a situation last year with Chase Brown and Zach Moss, where Chase Brown is a rookie who's coming in, he's kind of splitting reps and then takes over later on in the, and that's kind of how the situation I'm feeling like with Patriots right now. But I do have to worry about the situation because it's beginning of the year and you're still needing points if you take Trevion Henderson in the fourth or fifth round.
Mm-hmm.
You're expecting him to be an every week starter, and he may not be an every week starter in majority leagues right now.
Yeah. Our next guy is Derrick Henry. He's another guy I'm not worried about. It's Derrick Henry. He always has a week where he's just like non-existent, which is fine because you need him in the late season, right? Derrick Henry's a league winner, especially late season. So that's another guy I'm not going to panic about yet, but I'm going to keep my eye on just in case. I don't have him in any league, but if somebody puts him on the block or he starts to stink it up a little bit, I'm going to keep my eye on that situation and go trade for him. So,
yeah, it's Derrick Henry. I mean, come on, guys. He's Derrick Henry. Yeah, he had a dud week, but he's still a guy that can get you 30 to 40 points in 1 week and easily win you a game. And like you said, he wins championships. So I'm not necessarily worried about his performance that he had last. And again, he had a really great week 1 despite the fumble. So, but 3 points is really, really rough.
Yeah,
coming from a first rounder.
Yeah, and our last guy is another receiver, Justin Jefferson. I don't think I'm going to panic on him. I know he's got to deal with Carson Wentz throwing him the football for the next couple weeks. Wait, Carson Wentz? Right? That's the right backup? Okay, cool. Excuse me. So that's a little worrisome, but it's also Justin Jefferson. It seems to be like he's quarterback proof. So we'll see. I'm not going to panic, but I also don't have him on a team. So he's going to be another guy like Derrick Henry. If he starts to stink it up, I might look to see if I can trade for him. So if you don't have these guys and we're not panicking, maybe look to see if they continue to stink and then see if you can buy them low. So that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic button at all with Justin Jefferson. If anything, I'm kind of buying him. Yes, there's been struggles with JJ. Yes, he's going to be hurt. But if I remind you what Carson Wentz did with Michael Pittman Jr. in 2021, Pittman had over 1,000 receiving yards for the second time in his career he's only done it, and he had 6 touchdowns, which was a career high for Michael Pittman Jr. Carson Wentz is going to be getting Justin Jefferson. Jay
Jettis
can get confusing for most people or for some people. But yeah, Carson Wentz is not the problem. Justin Jefferson, and
your mic's cutting out.
From Kirk Cousins to Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold,
JJ McCarthy, and now
JJ McCarthy,
and now Carson Wentz.
Who was there before Kirk Cousins?
It was just Kirk Cousins. He was the starter.
No. There was a guy that JJ came out with, or Justin Jefferson came out with before Kirk Cousins got there.
Was there? You're not talking about this season, are you?
No.
If my page would load, I could tell you. I think you're crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get you guys on that. Let's see, who was?
While he's looking that up, I'm gonna plug our Twitter. I spent all Sunday watching the games and sending tweets about how the games were going. And I think if you want little updates on the games, go ahead and follow our Twitter. It is _TD_podcast. We'll just be posting little game recaps and posting videos on there as well. Did you find it? Was that a long enough little plug?
Trying to figure out who was the quarterback for the Vikings in 2020.
2020? I'll tell you right now, it's Kirk Cousins. I'm looking at it. Kirk Cousins was the starting quarterback from 2017 to 2022. 2023.
Well,
Nope.
I feel like there's been some
2024.
injuries that Justin Jefferson has caught more touchdown passes from other people than just Kirk Cousins.
Um,
But
no, Kirk Cousins played every game
sorry
that
to
season.
keep you guys. Sorry to
Every game
sorry
that
to
season.
throw that on everyone here.
There you go. You're probably right. Kirk Cousins missed probably a game or two. Oh, Sean Mannion. Are
Sam
you thinking of Josh Dobbs?
Josh Dobbs or Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell threw a few touchdown passes. I think he was on the
That
Vikings for a minute,
was
right?
that was 2023, I believe, because that was the last
See,
Madden I played. Nick Mullins also.
because Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles, right? And there was a bunch of backups coming in.
Yeah, it was Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs, but those are the
Okay,
other two guys that threw touchdowns. So,
okay.
but yeah, so you were
But
right,
again,
but it's
not
not.
hitting the panic.
Yeah, not hitting Pathetic.
Not his rookie season.
No. Yeah, so now we've got some matchups we like and matchups we do not like. Dak, do you want to kick us off with somebody that you like with a matchup for this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna kick it off with the one you kind of gave to me, and you threw it right to my face. Was
I sure
Bijan
did.
Robinson,
Slow pitch down the
and then
middle.
I was like, okay, let's look into why Bijan Robinson's gonna have a good. The Panthers just gave up 200 rushing yards to the Jags. The Jags don't really have a premier top back in the NFL. Bijan Robinson is a top 5 running back in the NFL. Bijan's gonna probably have at least 150 total yards, not including touchdowns and stuff like that. He's gonna go for at least 25, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it because I have him in 2 leagues. The player that I like with a matchup is James Cook. He's off to a great start. I would be excited about whoever he was playing, but this week they're playing the Dolphins, so I'm even more excited because I do not believe in the Dolphins at all. The Dolphins have become my punching bag for this season until the next team starts to suck. So again, James Cook is off to a great start with 3 touchdowns, and playing against a lackluster Dolphins defense. I'm here for it, especially because I expect the score to go high, which means they're going to start running the football, which means James Cook gets more points and more yards and more touchdowns. Now, for the players we don't like, I took the cheatsy way out because I didn't have much time to plan for this episode, but I'm going with the Panthers defense versus the Falcons. Now, if you are in a big league and you have to play with the Panthers defense, I'm sorry about you, but you're going to have a hurting this week. And if I am correct, but I expect the Falcons to have a good game because, one, they have Bijan Robinson. 2, they have Michael Penix, another guy who can move. And Kyle Pitts seems to be playing football, like actually as a human
He's
again.
doing well. I'm kind of upset that I gave him away.
Yeah, you literally just gave him away. But the Panthers have a lack of pressure, lack of run defense, which means it's not a good matchup for any quarterback with working legs and eyes.
Yeah, so my matchup I don't really like. It's not that I don't really like it. It seems to be too good to be true. Trevion Henderson this week against the Steelers. You know, I mentioned the Steelers have had really rough on their defense right now, but it's gonna get fixed. It can't last that way forever. And not only is Trevion not getting all the reps, but Ramondre Stevenson is taking some end zone and some red zone. So I just don't like the full matchup, and I don't really like to. I wouldn't start Trevion Henderson this week if that was an option.
You know, people are going to bite you right back in the butt if he has a Bayshol Tootin week.
Yeah, and I will fully accept it.
Because Bayshol Tootin was sitting on my bench, and I was really sad about it. Wrapping up this episode, we have a one last tip for fantasy football. My last tip, I guess, is just don't panic. It's still early in the season. I, however, am panicking because I'm supposed to be good at fantasy football, and my teams are kind of sucking it up right now. So,
Yeah, so my one last tip is just make sure you're hitting the waiver wire, guys. This is early in the season. You could legitimately find a starter every single week from here on if you're hitting the waiver wire this early, especially if you have a high priority waiver wire pickup. A guy that can potentially start in your flex or even wide receiver 2 if you're in a not a deep league that could really make some moves for you. And that's ultimately why we call it Waiver Wire Wednesday. Waiver wire, that's when everything comes in, and that's when the guys that you're putting in for later on the week comes true or not, based off of what priority you have.
Yeah.
But
Little
if you're in a
Kayshawn Booty
situation,
action. Keep that in
and
mind.
if you're in a situation where you don't have a quarterback, you're gonna have to go and pick up, because if you have, Fields and you don't know if he's gonna play, or if you have J.J. McCarthy and you play, you can go find a guy like Daniel Jones I talked about, that could easily start for you for the next 2 weeks, and could get it done until your true quarterback that you want to put out there, goes and makes plays. And another guy like Mac Jones that went out and balled out. He could, he's playing for the next 2 weeks. So if you need a guy that can get it done, go hit the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Don't make a bad trade.
Yeah, don't make a bad trade. With all that being said, I'm glad you guys joined us for our Waiver Wire Wednesday episode. This will once again be another little sub episode that we try to put out every week. Weeks may vary depending on how much time we have, how much preparation, etc., etc. We try to get these episodes out at a consistent basis, but our lives are crazy and we don't have much time. With all that being said, we hope you guys liked, subscribed, and continue to comment and let us know what you think down below, whether we have good takes, bad takes, or you're like, hey, I just want to voice my take, which go for it. Maybe down the line we will start putting those in videos too. That could be fun. With all that being said, yeah, little overreactions. With all that being said, also don't forget to follow us on our socials down there, and the X or Twitter, whatever the heck you choose to call it. With all that being said, though, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.